Hello. In this presentation, we're going to talk about chemicals, safety data sheets, and the Globally Harmonized System. Chemicals. We use them to take care of our homes, and we use them at work to help us do our jobs. There are a lot of chemicals, and they can do a lot of things. If they're used properly, chemicals can make life a lot easier, but they can be dangerous too. What happens if you accidentally swallow a little bit of one of them, or get some on your skin? Will it catch fire, or will it explode? If you're going to be handling chemicals, especially at work, you have the right to know what they are and how to handle them. One place you might look is at the label, and here are a couple examples. You notice any differences between these two? They both give you a little information, but they're not the same. One has a little picture symbol on it, and the other one doesn't. The first one lists the manufacturer, but the second one does not. Well, that situation's about to change, and that's why we're here today. The United States, Canada, and about 65 other countries have adopted a new standard for chemical labeling, and that's what we're talking about today. It's starting to happen now, but over the next 2 years, you'll notice the new standard labels showing up on all the chemicals you use. We're going to look at labels first, and then finish up with the new look safety data sheets. Now this is a sample label, and it has most of the features you'll be seeing on chemical labels everywhere. First, up top, you notice the product name of the thing. In this case, it's Product J, but you'll see whatever name of the product is. Clorox, Purell, Windex, whatever. You'll also see the chemical names for what's in it, whether it's just one chemical or several. This is a pictogram. In this case, it's the familiar skull and crossbones. That means poison. But there are 9 pictograms. You'll see whichever ones apply to your chemical. Let's take a look. All the designs look like this. It's the red diamond shape with some design on the inside. The first one there with the little circle with the flames around it, that means it's an oxidizer. The second one with the little flames in there, that's easy. That's flammable. It's self-heating or it gives off flammable gas, something like that. The last one, that's an exploding bomb. That means your chemical is explosive. The skull and crossbones, we already saw that one. That's poison. That is something that is severely toxic. You do not want to swallow anything with that symbol in it. The next one's kind of hard to see there, but it shows a hand and a piece of metal both in bad shape after something has been spilled on them. That is for a corrosive chemical. And the last one is the silhouette gas tank. That's a compressed gases, like an oxygen tank. Next up we have the one for health hazards, one with the silhouette of a person there with a little problem with his chest. This can cause cancer, respiratory problems, organ failure, or other health problems. Next, that's a little picture of a tree and a fish. These chemicals will cause environmental damage if you dump them in the wrong place. And the last one, the exclamation point, that's a catch-all for everything else. Irritants, narcotics, other milder, non-fatal poisons. So let's get back to our label. We have the skull and crossbones symbol, so we know that this is toxic, right? The next line shows the hazard word. This one says danger, which is the highest level hazard word. If it's less severe, not quite as bad, the word will be warning. And if it's not very dangerous at all, there won't be any hazard word, period. You'll see a hazard statement telling you exactly what sort of danger you're in if you swallow or touch or breathe or whatever this chemical. There are 2 kinds of hazards: physical hazards and health hazards. Physical hazards are things that cause obvious immediate damage to you or to anything else that happens to be around. Explosives, flammable gases, liquids, things like that. A health hazard, on the other hand, does damage to your health. It might happen right away, or if it's chronic, it'll happen over time. Now, acute problems hit you right away, like carbon monoxide poisoning or swallowing other poisonous chemicals. Chronic effects aren't always so obvious. They may take a long time, years or decades, before you feel the effects. Cigarette smoking is an obvious chronic danger. Black lung is a chronic condition, as is asbestosis. When you're handling any hazardous chemicals like these, you want to be sure to do it safely. Maybe you need rubber gloves or a mask. And you never simply put your nose over the bottle and take a big sniff. The new label will tell you about these safety precautions. Labels should also tell you how to safely store the chemical and what to do if you get any on you or if you swallow anything. Finally, the manufacturer will put its name on the label and some contact information too. The other change we're going to talk about today are the safety data sheets. Now, the idea behind these is not new. We have had MSDS binders for years, but they're changing. The first change is the name. They're no longer MSDS sheets. They are now SDS sheets, or safety data sheets. Every department has an SDS binder containing all the information on the particular chemicals that you use in your department. With some departments, like Human Resources or Finance, that binder is going to be pretty small. The Maintenance department, on the other hand, might require 2 binders to hold everything on all of the chemicals they use, because there are a lot of them. Either way, it's there, and it's available for you to check on it anytime you need to. In addition, each community has a master SDS file containing the SDS sheets for every chemical used in that community. This is a picture of Oakmont's file. It's in the Willows, in the lounge behind the nurse station on the 2nd floor. The main file in Washington is behind the front desk in Southmont. And Longwood has 2. One is in the Resident Care Suite office, and the other is in the Hannah Healthcare Center Gardenside Neighborhood Staff Room. So, what's in those binders? Now, this is a sample of the first page of an SDS sheet. There are 16 parts to the SDS sheets, and every chemical we use has one of them. Let's take a quick look. Section 1 identifies the chemical. You'll see the product name, the name and address of the manufacturer, and a brief description of just what it is. Section 2 is for hazard identification. Is it flammable? Will it explode? Does it cause cancer? You'll see all that information right here in Section 2. Section 3 covers composition, just what is in this. You'll see a list of all the hazardous ingredients and how much of each. If there's a proprietary recipe, then they don't want to tell you just what's in it, then you'll see a statement to that effect. Now let's take a quick look at the other sections. Section 4 gives first aid information, what to do in case you get some on you. Section 5 is about firefighting. If this stuff catches on fire, Section 5 will tell you how to put it out. It also tells the firefighters about what protective equipment they might have to wear in case of a fire. Section 6 is about spills, how to contain them, how to clean them up. And Section 7 covers handling the chemical and how to store it safely. Section 8 is about exposure control. This part will tell you what protective equipment you should be wearing, and also any exposure limitations there might be, or if it should be used in a specially ventilated area, that kind of thing. Section 9 gives you the physical properties, what it looks like, what it smells like, when it melts, when it boils, will it burn, other physical things like that. Section 10 is about stability and reactivity. Are there any other chemicals that should not come into contact with this one? Should you be careful around static electricity? Section 11 covers toxicology, the likely ways you might be exposed, and the symptoms and effects of that exposure. Section 12 is for ecological matters. What will happen to the fish if you dump this stuff in the river? Or what will happen to your garden if you throw it out the back window? Related to that is Section 13, which gives you the proper disposal methods. Section 14 doesn't apply to us too much here, but it does cover how to transport this chemical from one place to another. Section 15 is for any safety or health regulations related to the chemical, And Section 16 is a catch-all section for anything that might have been missed in the other sections. And that wraps up this presentation on the Global Harmonized System. Remember, you have the right to see the SDS binder in your department and the main file for your campus. If you have any questions, please check with your manager or with anyone on the safety committee. Thanks for listening.